right, so welcome to SafeAccess Live, where we bring together partners of our SafeAccess 360 strategic coalition. And we do this to bring the world an exclusive suite of risk management solutions for a safe return to work. This is our goal at SafeAccess. And today I'm pleased to introduce you to Heidi Hostetter, who is the CEO of H2 Manufacturing Solutions. And Heidi is managing the audits for about 15 different municipalities in Colorado for her 5-star certification program to help keep people safe and businesses open. Hi, Heidi, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Catherine.
Good, good, good. We also have Martin Hanneman, who is the president of Paradigm Global. Paradigm Global is a safety consulting and training firm. Hi, Martin, how are you?
Hi there, Catherine. Well, thanks. How are you?
Good, good, great. Great to have you. And then we have Sumanth Channabasappa, who is the CEO of SafeAccess, a health and safety platform that brings people together within a risk-free experience. Hi, Sumanth. Welcome.
Oh, it's good to see everyone.
Great. Well, I'm very happy to have you all. I'm going to ask you questions so that you can speak about what you do, your business, and share some of your goals here with our audience. All right, so let's start with you, Heidi. If you don't mind introducing yourself and explaining your role and what you do in your company, that would be great.
Sure. So H2 Solutions CEO, and I often refer to myself as Jill of all trades, not a master of one. Pretty proud of that after 25 years. But, here at H2, we try to, our mantra, our tagline, if you will, is that we try to provide solutions to businesses to make it a little less daunting and a lot more achievable. And that's what we believe our 5-axis certification system was and is. And I can dive into that later on when you ask me questions around it.
Oh, sounds great. Sounds great. Wonderful. How about you, Martin? Would you mind doing the same?
Sure. President of Paradigm Global. As you mentioned, we specialize in training and safety consulting. My background is specifically special event risk management and critical infrastructure protection. So we've been involved in facility safety and security and advanced safety and security for about 10 years under our parent company, Accurate Risk Management.
Great, thank you very much. Great, how about you, Sumanth?
Oh, this is an august crowd here. I am an entrepreneur, investor, and I've also had enterprise roles in multiple different aspects. And excited to be part of SafeAccess and getting people back into risk-mitigated in-person experiences. It would have been lovely to meet all of you in person. And hopefully soon we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm sure we will, right? We will come back to in-person experiences. That's the goal of everyone here. So let me ask you this. Are people really thinking about returning to, like I just mentioned, in-person experiences? What is your experience? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll just say that the answer is absolutely yes. And we often don't realize that many people never stopped working. They fell under that umbrella of essential service. So it's been an interesting and delicate balance to ensure the safety of those essential businesses as well as the outwardly facing businesses who have just been slayed in this. Restaurants, personal service events, things like this. We need to show them how to get back together again safely.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So talk about your 5-star certification. That sounds really interesting. Why did you start this? What created that need?
Yeah. So early on, of course, none of us have been in a pandemic, right? None of us were around for 1918. And so we were interacting with businesses and schools, and the reality was nobody really knew how to do this. Right? If there weren't, I guess, things in place, Catherine, as a requirement of OSHA or ISO or the various regulatory bodies, nobody knew how to deal with this, and nobody knew how to make sure their employees were safe, their vendors were safe, their students were safe. and reduce liability.
Right.
Plus, the first probably 6 months of this pandemic, it was a moving target. One minute it was 10 feet apart, then it was 6, then it was, you know, droplets, then it was, yeah, I mean, it was on and on and on. So we put together a system to say, you know what, we're going to take the work out of that for you. We're going to monitor the CDC, the Fed, the state, and whatever local municipality you're in. We're going to monitor all those requirements and then put together something that's applicable to your industry so that you don't need to worry about that. If we come in, we're going to do that work for you. And then we're going to continue to communicate with you along the way so that you know what's changing and pivoting. And we're even going to come back in because it's not a one and done scenario and make sure that it's continuous improvement in safety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. So how, if someone is interested in being certified, what's the typical process?
Typically, they just contact us or their local municipality. And then a lot of the agreements we currently have set up are through Denver County, Boulder County, some of the ski town communities. It's pretty Colorado specific right now, which is why we're so excited to work with this group here, these partnerships.
Wonderful. All right, how about you, Martin? Can you explain your experience and why you have decided to focus on safety and training? I'm sure there's a need out there that you wanted to fill. Can you talk about this a little?
Sure. Much of our business changed, obviously, with the pandemic. A lot of the infrastructure side continued, but everything we were doing on the event side, obviously, ground to a halt. We're certainly seeing all of the clients that we're talking to, especially in the event world, have a desire, somewhat cautiously, to go back into in-person events. We've not talked to anybody on the event side at all who have said, no, we're going to stay virtual. Everybody wants that in-person contact. And I think, these event organizations and clients, although I think they might actually keep some of the interesting tools that they've developed over the last year, to help them in the virtual space, the end goal is to get back into person and be safe doing that. So our connection, really, we spent the last year looking for tools to help our clients get back safely, especially on the event side where we have this experience over the last decade of providing on-site safety services. So we generally come to an event, we do the risk management, we do the safety and security plans, we come on site with a small team and actually run the safety and security, make sure the event is secure and everybody's safe. We wanted to extend that further, and we were looking for tools to do that. But we realized that to do it, we needed to be able to apply not just regulations, but we needed to be able to do it consistently and in some meaningful fashion that actually ensured safety, didn't just tick boxes, but actually ensured safety. And so SafeAccess was the first and only so far that we've found system with this coalition where we can actually provide this end-to-end solution where we can actually ensure safety across so many different domains, all under one roof.
Yeah, thank you. And that's critical for companies because it can be a very overwhelming task to have to put everything together to ensure the safety of everyone, right? It's time consuming. They don't know where to turn exactly. They don't know who can be totally relied on. So that is a challenge. So you're solving that. I mean, we
Absolutely.
are solving that as SafeAccess, working with companies like yours to provide that service that will save time and money and create peace of mind for everyone involved, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We've always seen our services as this, this turnkey service where we can take the worry and the liability and that resource of take that worry away from the client and we basically this entity that comes in and takes care of that. And I think this now allows us to do that same thing, but in the new post-pandemic environment that we're operating in.
Right, right. So Sumanth, when do you anticipate that events will reopen fully again, and when companies are going to be fully at ease reopening their offices for their employees? Do you have any idea as to when that will happen?
It's a good question. It seems like you've all heard me say this offline, which is there's a BC era, the before Corona, and it seems like so long ago. And to the points that Heidi and Martin made, right? There've been people who have never stopped being in person because they have to, and then there are people who want to get back into person safely as well. And if you look at the numbers and what's changing across the globe today, there's a lot of desire on mitigating risk in a timely manner, not only for today, tactically, right, but also strategically, so that we can get this pandemic behind us. The more direct answer to your question, Catherine, is that we have been enabling in-person experiences, for instance, with schools, right? We have major school districts that are using us to ensure that our kids get an education and there's no disruption there. We have had enterprises slowly come back into in-person experiences over the last few months. And to be even more specific on events, we have enabled, we have already enabled events. So to give an example, Incentive Live happened in Tucson a couple of weeks ago that utilized our SafeAccess platform to ensure that attendees can come in safely, meet their policies and procedures. And we are also enabling a couple of other events in the near future. One of them is this week. And that's also the reason why we are excited about this partnership with what Heidi brings with 5-Star and the ability that they have to distill federal, state, and other regulations into something that's easily digestible, understandable, and implementable, coupled with what Paradigm does, where they can holistically look at the entire picture of an event and consider all these different factors. In fact, we have an example where this entity wants to have an event coming up in a few weeks, and they're like, hey, can we get a hands-free experience that provides peace of mind to all the event attendees, for us and everyone else who's going to be involved with that? And that's kind of stuff that is starting to happen. We have had other conversations with additional partners who are also hearing and seeing the same thing. So to wrap that up, Catherine, I think to your point, it's happening as we speak. Yeah. And it's only going to increase. And what we are here to do is to make sure that people are looking at risk management and risk mitigation from the get-go, so that this becomes a real start and brings us back into in-person experiences rather than a false start or cause hiccups along the way.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And it's actually interesting to hear that some people think that they may not need all of these services because they say, hey, COVID is almost over. We hear this all the time, or the pandemic is almost over. Why would we need to implement the services that you're offering? So what would you have to say to that, Heidi? Well, would you respond to a comment like this one?
Well, that was a good joke. That was funny, Catherine. COVID is not almost over. I mean, I don't make a lot of friends with my perspective on this, so I'll just be really direct about that. I'm a data junkie, and if you look at the data empirically supports that COVID is not over, will not be over. I think this last month alone, we saw a 25, almost 26% increase in COVID cases in this country. I'm not even going to get into what's happening outside of our borders because we've got to figure that out, right? I think I had heard a stat this morning, hot off the press, that this last week alone, we had more COVID cases than we've had since the start of the pandemic. Right. So it's official. We're in the fourth wave. I think the measurement now has become hospitalizations. And so, really what I think this group here at SafeAccess needs to do is ensure safety so that, what we know is that if people aren't dying, they're certainly going to continue to be sick.
Mhm.
Right. So how do we ensure everybody's safety so that we can have that normalcy again? Because there's a lot of studies that this isn't good for us. This isn't good for us to be isolated, not being at events together. Like, it's psychologically and physiologically damaging. And so when I think of safe access, I think of something that carries far greater impact.
Yeah, thank you for sure. It's impacting mental health. I mean, it's been proven with statistics, just like you mentioned, being a data junkie. And that's something that we and people cannot ignore. And it's not just a pandemic caused everything that's happening right now. I think people have to think risk management in a more global term, because risk is always going to be there. New pandemics can happen. There could be additional risk that can come up that we are not even aware of. And it's important to be proactive in setting up systems and processes in companies that will protect them, not only to protect themselves, but to protect their clients, or to protect their attendees in case of events, right? Or to protect their students and teachers in case of universities. So it's really a proactive approach that's critical to be ready for the future, whatever happens, right? What do you think of that, Martin? What type of reactions you have, or comments you have from people that mention that it's just for a pandemic, I won't need it in a few months from now?
Sure. I mean, I agree with Heidi. I spend my life, as a risk manager, and although I would hope that the risk goes away, hope isn't the way you deal with risk. You said it succinctly. It's proactiveness. So yes, I think we should be proactively managing risk. To do that, you need to measure the risk, which is where the data comes in. You need to understand the risk, and you need to look at it, as you said, holistically. You have to be looking at this across the board, because risk doesn't go away. We have all kinds of risk. This is just another risk that we have to take care of. So we have to take this balanced approach. We have to continue looking at all risk of an event or a facility, something that I don't think we do enough anyway. And then really make sure we understand, well, what is the greatest risk? How we proactively mitigating the consequences that might happen. But to do that, you have to have a plan. You have to have looked at the risk. You have to have measured it. You have to identify it, obviously, and then you have to have a plan. You have to have contingency plans. Even if you thought that COVID was not going to affect you, I would still say it's still not wise to go in and not have any type of plan, as to what you're going to do if it does affect you. It's no good testing for COVID at the entrance, or temperature testing, if you don't have a plan as to what to do if you actually detect somebody who has COVID. Proactiveness is exactly what we need at this point.
Right. Yeah, thank you. No, for sure. I hear also people worried about the amount of time they would need to incorporate this type of process in their existing infrastructure. So Sumanth, if you don't mind addressing this, people think it's going to cost me a lot of money. I'm going to have to manage it all myself. I don't know where to start. So can you speak about what SafeAccess can offer in order to facilitate this, so that they can really integrate the systems and the solutions that SafeAccess offers within their own systems in a way that is not so overwhelming?
Yeah, sure. I'm smiling as I hear this, right? We're preaching to the choir and hearing about risk, and you all made great points. I'm going to kind of start there, right? Which is, this is something we're going to learn to modulate and live with, right? This is like, just because we ignore gravity doesn't mean gravity goes away. It's there. You can modulate it, but you can't. You don't get away from it. And like Martin said, right, the risk management is a lot of things. This is one other that has focus now, given the fact that it's impacting all of us. But risk management as a whole doesn't go away, and you need to have a plan. From my cybersecurity background, risk management is a game of probability, right? And like Heidi said, it's we're not going to eliminate it. What we do is manage it. And like Martin said, we need to have a plan as to, if it happens, what do we do? right? So it's not just about, doing everything up front. It's also about knowing what to do. It's kind of like locking our doors and windows. We also have a police force because things are going to happen. And when they happen, what do you do? And how do you mitigate and handle it? And now to go to your question, Catherine. So what we hear a lot from our customers has morphed over the months, right? Initially, there was a lot of uncertainty. And what we provided was a platform that would enable them to create some level of certainty with creating and maintaining policies and procedures. Then we realized that we went through this phase of like testing and making sure that we are actually proactively testing people. Then came vaccinations and the other aspects such as contact tracing and such. And the ask that we are getting from our customers changed from, hey, what do I do? There's uncertain to, okay, I think I know what to do, but I don't want to go to like 5 different people to like create a solution, because that itself can be a risk. When you have multiple different things, a chain is as weak as its weakest link. So if you're not looking at it holistically, that itself creates a risk factor, as Martin knows and Heidi knows. And it's like, and so what we then did was to create SafeAccess 360, where we are bringing in partnerships such as this, where we can offer combined solutions. And now we are moving to a point where customers are going, okay, I don't want to look at the solutions. Catherine, to what you alluded to, they're saying, what should I do? And can you help me do it in a hands-free manner? Right? So to take this real life example, the call yesterday morning was with someone who's like, I'm planning an event. I want you guys to come in, look at risk management end to end. And we want to make sure that we have a platform with policies and procedures. We do testing before people arrive through test kits at their home. They want testing when people arrive at the location, testing before they leave. They're also like, we also want to like have contact tracing if something does go wrong and have people on site. But we need someone to put this risk management plan. This is Paradigm, right? The other side of it is they're like, we're also interested in knowing that what's being done, not just our policies, but the hotel's policies or the location's policies, as well as other things, are all kosher. And this is where what Heidi brings with 5-star and distilling the recommendations, not just statically, but looking at what is happening today. And the partnership where, Martin on the risk management side and the guidelines and such can all come together holistically is what we are doing with SafeAccess 360. So a different way to put it is it's a turnkey service.
Right.
We talk to a customer and we say, what all do you need? And we have partnerships and relationships enabled where we can do it end to end and help them meet all of their risk management needs. In fact, we are a risk mitigation as a service solution at this point collectively.
Well, which is the big differentiator. A lot of companies may offer similar services, but these are all individual services. And this 360 solution is really bringing a solution that is easy to implement, that it is all organized for companies and people that are interested in being really serious about setting up solid risk management systems. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so, and the last question I have for you is, some companies have been hit very hard by COVID, and some of them are financially strained or worried, not knowing exactly what's going to happen in the future. Now, the government has launched a CARES Act that is providing a lot of financing to businesses that need those finances, that can benefit from it. Heidi, are you getting this type of comments from clients that they would love to implement solutions, but they don't have the means? Do you know that, or do you think people are aware of the government's assistance that's available right now?
I think that Sumanth will probably shed more light on this. What I'll tell you is that the CARES dollars that are out there, I think there's been a lot of ambiguity, Catherine, around how to access them. Do you have to go through your governor's office? Do you have to go through EcoDevo? Do you have to go through your commissioner? So I think Sumanth has found a potential pathway on that I have not even found. And I will say, my understanding is with these tranches of money is that they are accessible to the community as a whole. Now, how to access that gets tricky for me.
Okay. How about you, Martin? Are you getting this type of comments where they need some financial help and don't know where to turn?
Sure. Yeah, we do. Funding, obviously, it's that catch-22, right? We need to go back to business to make money to be able to pay for the services that we need to go back into business. So I'm very much in favor of government assistance in the CARES Act. If it's suitable and attainable. So I think any funding stream that can help businesses get back to what they're doing, especially what I wouldn't want to see is businesses going back to work unsafely because they weren't able to afford proper risk management processes. So I do think that part of it is very important.
Yeah, no, that's critical. I mean, we know we are a country of lawsuits, and that's another thing that people have to think about, right? You getting ready from that standpoint, but also getting ready from a compliance standpoint. Not being compliant can be very costly, right, Sumanth?
Yes, absolutely. To tie those things right. I mean, we ask our current customers across the board, enterprises, academia, media production, or events now increasingly, and it boils down to like people want to reduce risk and liabilities. They want to make sure they're in compliance because I think as I think it was Danny Hanneman who said something like a pandemic is, and I paraphrase, something like a pandemic is so big that you need to leave it to like the data junkies like Heidi and others to like look at and come up with things, recommendations, and people like Martin to look at that and see how it applies to specific situations, and for solutions like SafeAccess provides, right? And if you look at it, in-person experiences is not only like you said, right? There's an emotional well-being and physical well-being aspect to it. In addition to that, there's also a business need, right? In-person experiences fuel the economy in various ways, and this is how business is done. And it goes back to centuries ago, the barter system and the ability to connect and communicate. And I think that is something where it's kind of like investing in cybersecurity, and whether it is coming through government dollars, and Catherine, this, SafeAccess has provided guidelines that we should probably share with this. But also businesses to look at this as an investment and take a look at risk management as a whole, and take a look at the guidelines and policies, and get back into business. I mean, some of this is going to be hybrid, but to what Heidi said early on, not everyone has that luxury. And to what Martin said, right, there's a whole industry here that relies on people coming together, not only for their own reasons, but also for the society and economy as a whole. So I think a little investment to get us back into a place where we modulate how we stay safe and healthy individually and as a community, I think is going to go a long way in the space.
No, absolutely. And it's also a way of building some competitive differentiation. I mean, in marketing, everybody knows that there are lots of competition coming on board. And if you have everything in place to prove that your clients, your employees, your students are safe, it's definitely bringing some fire to the value proposition and making the company a lot more valuable, which if it were me, I would ask, and I would make sure that would be in place. So from a marketing standpoint, it's definitely bringing a lot of competitive advantages. All right, great. Well, anything that you would like to leave us with, any of you?
I would just like to thank Sumanth and the executive team at SafeAccess for bringing these partnerships together. I'm pretty certain I would have stayed in my little silo doing my thing all by myself, having much less impact than hopefully we can have together as a team. So thank you, Sumanth.
Yeah, I would second that. And we're just very excited about this. Like I said, we've been looking for some time now for an avenue and the best way to approach this, and we really feel we found it. So we're excited about what we're going to be able to do as a joint effort and as a team.
Yeah, and thank you all. I mean, likewise, we are stronger together, right? We all innovated in specific areas, and what we all saw is the ability to come together and have a greater impact and a faster impact. than we would have individually. So we're all excited about this. And Catherine, thank you. Thank you for bringing us together today.
Well, you're welcome. Well, Heidi, Martin, Sumanth, thank you so much for your time today. It was wonderful to speak with you all and discover what you're doing. Thanks for what you do. And to everybody else, see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.